Welcome to In the Know with Steph and Joe. In the Know with Steph and Joe is all about small business development. These two entrepreneurs bring real-life experience, laughter, and, well, just a ton of knowledge on how to build your small business and make it thrive. After all, this is your creation. Now learn how to make it sing. In the Know with Steph and Joe airs Fridays at 3 p.m. right here on 216 The Net. Like, follow Steph's books and Restoration One of Cary, along with 216 The Net on Facebook, and subscribe to the 216 The Net YouTube channel.
All that chocolate. Time to get to action.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Eli had some chocolate before the show, so he's all ramped up and ready for action.
He's fired up.
So we're talking action today. We talked motivation, and we found out that I'm actually motivated by making people feel uncomfortable in the green room. That is one thing we found out. Steph's still trying to find our show online.
I found it, but I don't know. I can't share it. Whatever. Anywho.
Whatever. We found out that I'm motivated by people feeling uncomfortable, and therefore that might be what drives me to action. But how do you get stuff done? Steph is in action right now. Don't know.
It's bothering me.
Is it?
Yes.
Why don't you take action?
I don't know. I am. Usually I could share it out, but it doesn't. It's not letting me. I must be in the wrong thing. I don't know. Anyways.
Tune in. Look, I could share. Ha ha.
Okay.
I'm putting ha ha. I could share.
Ha ha. All right. So anyway,
Share. Look at this. Ha ha. I can share. I just posted it. I could share.
So recently at Steph's Books, we decided to create. Action plans at Steph's Books for all of our employees. So I don't know if I went about it like the long way or if this is the correct way to do it. But so what we did was we sent out a survey to all of our employees, having them identify like what they feel like they do really well, what they feel like they do not so well, and then like what we could do as management and ownership to support them and where they would like to be in 6 months.
Almost like goals.
Yeah, so we had them fill out that form.
Okay.
Then Bridget and I each individually filled out
You were doing a SWOT analysis.
Yeah, so Bridget and I each filled out on a scale of like whatever, the 1 to 5, the different services that we offer and like where they fall in that and if it's good or bad. And then we put some comments and notes. And then Bridget and I then had another meeting after everybody filled all their stuff out. And then we took the information and combined it all into one thing. And then we put together a 30 and 60-day action plan to either get better skills trained up or to add a new skill because they really didn't have much to improve upon.
Okay.
So that was like our employee action plan process of what we did all together from start to finish. It was like a 3-week process.
I don't think that's bad. Why do you think that's bad?
I've never done it before.
Oh.
And so I just kind of winged it.
Winged it?
Yeah. I just kind of winged it to what I thought in my mind it worked the most logical because what I feel and think that they do good in or what I feel that they need improvement on, they might not feel the same, but it was like really weird because all 3 of our answers were pretty identical of what was the good thing and what was the bad thing. So I feel like, I guess the one positive takeaway that I got from that was that me and my team are very much in sync on the good and the bad.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you got a lot out of it and they got stuff out of it and they're gonna?
So we're coming out of the first 30 days of the plan right now. So we executed stuff 30 days ago, and yeah, there's been a lot of improvement because we stopped. So basically, the girls do the work on the file, and then it comes to either Bridget or I for review, and then from there it goes to the client.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's things and discrepancies that we're noticing, we'll kick them back the file for them to fix the mistakes and then, do the review.
Yep.
And so some of our like newer employees, they had more kickbacks. Now we could go almost like a whole week with maybe one kickback, and each person works on 4 files per day. And then so it's 16 files per day for 5 days. So if we're only kicking back one for a little stupid mistake, I feel like that's a big improvement.
1 out of 80.
Yeah.
Not bad for the week.
Yeah.
Not bad. This action plan, though, did you guys have to write it down?
Yes. Well, we wrote it down. We had a meeting with the employee. They reviewed it. We reviewed it, and we all signed it. That we all agree that these are the steps that we're taking and the efforts that we're making to reach said
You made
goals.
us sign it.
Yeah.
It's a contract at that point, right?
Well, I mean,
Well, because you can't say that I didn't tell you.
Well, no, but
You
like
know?
if you're making them up together, if you're making up the goals or the action items.
Well, so Bridget and I just did the goals and the action items based upon those other documents that were filled out.
Got it.
So then we discovered that it seemed like a lot of them wanted some additional training, but maybe not in a boring video format, because I don't know if you guys have ever tried to watch a 2-hour-long QuickBooks video on payroll. Like it's not as riveting as it sounds.
Massively exciting.
Yeah. Probably sounds like some of the other stuff that I've, been subject to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paint
So
drying.
yeah. So we created Tuesday brain teasers. So now every Tuesday at 2:30, we basically kind of shut the office down, and the team will get a brain teaser. So like one week we did T charts, and you had to identify like what increases in the T chart, and you had to put either the liabilities, the equity account, the asset, whatever. How do you increase it? Then we did one on creating payroll journal entry. So we give you a story and a blank piece of paper, like a blank journal entry, and you have to fill it in. And then we did, one on identifying red flags on balance sheets. So it's all paper based and not electronic based. So it really makes them think and see if they're retaining the information that they've learned from working at the company versus being so reliant on your computer to tell you what to do.
So how'd you get to that action item of saying, hey, I need to create this Fun Tuesday activity?
Well, just based upon the feedback that the girls provided, they just felt like they needed more training. And a lot of them have already watched a lot of accounting videos that we've given and stuff like that. And
So it's just new stuff.
right. And then also it's a confidence builder too, because it's like it gets way more interactive than I ever thought it would. So everybody's in their own office. They fill out the form. Then we all meet in the break room. And then we read the question, and then each person gives like their response, and then Bridget or I will confirm if the response is correct or expand on it. But then they'll be like, oh yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and I put that too, or oh yeah, that tripped me up also, like the wording. And so like they're all kind of like
Bouncing,
cheerleaders for
correct.
each other. And some of them are like, well, shit, like I got all that right. I didn't even, realize that I knew that.
That I knew what you're talking about, or what
Right.
I thought I didn't know.
Right.
You mentioned a big thing, confidence.
Mhm.
Do you feel like, and in the green room right before the show, I asked Eli how he gets his stuff done. I said, do you write it down, Eli? And your response was, no, I'm young. I just remember it all.
I did say that.
I did say that. So in checking things off, a lot of people say like, that's the confidence builder, right?
Mhm.
Do you feel like that, like the physical check off or the confidence is something that an action item being completed?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a nice feeling that you got the answer correct, but also that your peers like that either like everybody's struggling with the same problem and not understanding, or everybody got it right and they're all on the same like path. And so it's just a big confidence booster to know when you're right.
When you're right,
yeah.
or even if you're wrong, that you're not the only one that's wrong.
Right. Or if you're on the path to being right. You know, if you're getting the training and the skills, and then once you know that you clearly have it down pat, then when you speak to clientele and you speak to other people or your other peers within the same industry, you could talk with confidence and you sound more believable that you know what you're doing.
Do you think that helps? So for me, just trying to get things done, I find obviously practice makes perfect. We all know that. So like doing that the first couple times, was it hard? And then as you're doing it, it's getting easier and easier. You know, like it's almost like when you're like, oh, we have to do employee evaluations. Oh, nobody wants to do those. But the more you do them, it's like the easier they get, right? Is that kind of the same with those? Like it as you're doing it, it just, you find that it's getting easier, or is it just like, I mean, your group's really good. So
no, it was the first time that we did them.
I'm curious
because I've always told them that like I'm a very direct person and I'm a very straight shooter. So if you're doing something I like, I tell you. If you're doing something I don't like, most likely you're fired. So then you know that I didn't like it. So like it's
no second chances with you, right?
Like, I mean, depending, but
it's so funny. No second chances.
Like
you're fired.
I feel like
sorry, you farted, you're fired.
But I feel like, you know, so I feel like me telling them things here and there was enough. But after talking to them and doing these reviews, it really wasn't. Like, I think them having it in writing and then having me put in writing the things that I enjoy about them and their performance or their personality or the amount of clients that reach out to me and say how much they love working, you know, like,
totally.
Like Carrie is always sad when Melanie is not in the building. Like, I'm pretty sure she's done talking to me and she just loves to talk to Melanie about the stuff.
Which so totally fine, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what's supposed to happen.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, I always, the more I can complete things, the better I feel, the more confidence I build. So as I'm like completing tasks, getting things done, I like to physically see the check marks going up, right? Having those conversations, just going ham on his tea. That sugar is definitely kicked in.
Well, it's sugar free.
No, the candy bars.
Oh,
he's like bouncing over here.
He's the caffeine from the tea, caffeine from the chocolate. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
He's breakdancing soon.
Yeah. So, but it builds my confidence to get stuff done and see a physical list get done, right? And then doing these over and over, like something like that. Hey, we did it once. We discovered all these things. The more we do it, the easier it's going to get, the quicker it's going to be, because there's going to be less and less stuff, or you're going to be more honed to know exactly what you're doing, or your people are going to get on the same page and pretty much walk in and be like, whoa, we're efficient. Boom, boom, knock this out. Let's go. Great. Done. Right. It was awesome. Right. And that to me is the confidence builder. 100%. Yeah.
So at R1, I know that you guys have had like some big like transitions and moving things. So how did you guys put together and figure out where to start? Because I know that over the last 9 months, you guys have had all these new things happening, and we've commented here and there about it, like on the show and stuff. Like your interview process is all different now, and all of that. So how did you? When you guys took a look at the company and where you guys were at, the growth that you guys have had, and now you had to tweak some things to be a big person company.
It sucks. I hate being a big person. Adulting sucks.
Couldn't Peter Pan it up anymore.
No.
So how did you guys figure out where you wanted to start first and then spider web out from there?
Great question. So I would say we have a great coach, advisor, coach, whatever you want to call it. Somebody that helps us out quite a bit. But for the most part, I think anybody can do it because the process that they're doing, that they gave us, is nothing new, right? It's set goals, or have a business plan. Where do you want to go with your business, right? Start with that. Overall arching. Where do you want to go with your business? What do you want your business to do? Where do you want to take it? How do you want to get there? Write that down. Then from there, you have to set the action items to get to that big thing. And each action item needs lots of little action items, and those little action items needs lots of smaller action items. So eventually you got this giant web or whatever of things that you need to do that'll ultimately all work up to your end goal for your company. So I think for us, when we started doing it, it really was taking that plan, that strategic plan that we want to get to, setting it, writing it down, making sure we're all on the same page, and then breaking it down into smaller items, even smaller items, and then it's just go get it. What's nice is a lot of us probably have done this, whether in personal life or work life. You set your goal, your overall arching big, this is my objective in life or whatever in my business, and you go get it, but then we all lose track of it after like 6 months. Right?
Yeah.
Right? So that's where I think our coach / advisor, whatever, is
because
really,
they make you be accountable,
is holding us accountable to those things that we wrote down. Right. He's not telling us what to write down. He's not telling us what we want, where we want to go. Right. He's just making sure that we're actually completing action items.
Sounds like he's keeping you on the path.
Yeah.
You guys started.
Yep. Holding us accountable, right? And however much he's doing it, maybe it's just because he's present that we're doing it too, but we're doing it to ourselves as well, right? So I think that's really the big thing, was holding ourselves accountable to those action items and making sure we get those done. That really helped.
Yeah.
We started really to move the ball quick.
Yeah, because I know at the pool company, I know that they did something similar where they brought in a consultant, and and Rich and I were actually talking about this last night, and it's like, he's like, I knew what problems we had, but it's just like, so it's not like I needed him to come in and tell me what problems, because I could tell him my problems. We just needed to figure out a way to take step one to having a solution to the problem. And that's what their consultant really helped them do. And now they have these things in place where they have, a lot more team meetings and a lot more interactive things. And they're putting things in place where people can't just let it burn.
Right.
Like you are 100% accountable for this said thing per what we all wrote down, per our management meeting, per what everybody signed. And we agreed that you're taking this, I'm taking this.
If A happens, action item is B.
Right.
Like now it's in writing that's set in stone. And when did they take on that person, that coach?
I want to say he's been there for, I want to say 8 weeks now, I think. Yeah. We went out to dinner with him, Rich and I, and stuff. So I got to meet him and everything. Nice guy. But yeah, so they did
accountability.
Yeah, so he kind of helped guide them on the path. And then it's also different because they were having like a little bit of struggle here and there with getting some employees on board with change, because obviously everybody knows that when you're making a big shift and change, and when you were basically the inmates got to run the asylum, and now the correction officers are taking back over, it's a big shift.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't go as smooth. So by having like a third party person that nobody knows, they're not necessarily going to say those same things to that third party person that they would maybe say to Rich or my brother-in-law, because they don't have that level of comfort and they're an outsider. So it's just like a very different thing and situation with that. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
So it's, you know,
Eli says, hey.
so it's just you have that whole level of things that come in when you're trying to make a big action plan shift.
I think somebody like that also has a very 30,000 foot view.
Mhm.
And because of that, it's easier for them to see like the back far out. Like most people that are in a business, in a company, and they have issues going on, their nose in the grind.
Right.
They're not looking. They just see the cause that was bad. They don't know the root of the problem was 20,000 feet up at management, right? Because management isn't telling the certain employee to do this and the employee isn't doing this. So that way the client is now mad and the client calls the owner just to say, screw you, right? And the client, and now the owner goes, well, the client called me to say, screw you. That's the problem. No, the problem is all the way back up at the manager, right? Right? Or even the owner level or whatever it may be. But that to me is where I think somebody like that is definitely has that ability to step back and go, this is the overall arching problem, not just this one little minute thing. What's the action items now? Because we got to fix this big problem, not just call the client back and say, sorry, client. Yeah. And then go, well, that problem's fixed. Nope, we're still going to have that same. So he could take that dial back and go, these are the action items we got to change, and that'll work its way down.
Right.
And I think that for Carrie and I, she cannot do that. She is in the grind. She's pretty getting better at it, but I'm a very visionary 30,000 foot view person. I can see everything from 30,000 feet. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the grind. I don't care. The details. Nope.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I agree with that. When you have the problem in front of you and it's interrupting your mission critical process, you're just frustrated. So all you're doing is constantly talking about the problem. The high level has to deal with the problem. Now, talking about action plans, when I consult for organizations, it depends on the size of the company. To usually a smaller company, we don't call them action plans, we call them best practices, right? We put in a best practice in play, we see how it works. If we need to adjust or fine tune, we do so. As you get into director levels, you have directors of departments. On high level, those directors, the owner, a board of directors, they all come up with these action plans for those departments, and the department heads or directors are to put in play those action plans which adjust your best practices.
Right.
So there's a tiered level for that, right? So if you're mom and pop or going into an SMB market, that change, and yes, you're going to get some employees that are going to fight you back, and unfortunately, you find the lemons falling off the tree, right? Because you still have to run your business, and that's your mission critical process. But as a whole, you're 100% right, Joe. That high level, that sky view is everything. Sometimes an outside source has no bias to who's doing what. They don't know anything. They're just looking at the high level. They sit and they look at every department and go, here's the problems that I see. Mm-hmm. And this is it. We make these adjustments. This is how that'll trickle downwards, right?
You said no bias, and that's such a true thing because somebody's going to walk in, some advisor's going to walk in and go to the pool company and say, yeah, well, Sam over there needs to get better at this, this, and this. But Sam's manager would be like, no, Sam's a good dude. He's okay, right? And so there's the compliance because the manager's biased because Sam's a buddy. Right? But an advisor is going to come in and have zero bias and go, I don't care if you're not my buddy.
Right.
You need to fix this because this is the problem. This is a problem. Not the problem, but maybe a problem.
Right.
Whatever it may be.
Well, and I told Rich too that my only concern when they were bringing this consultant into the pool company is that the thick of his time and implementation of when they're going to be really executing said things was going into end of April through May, which is
literally
like
the beginning of ramp up. Yeah.
Right. This is like the tornado. And the consultant was like, no, this is the best time because now I'm going to see how people act under pressure, what their stressors are, all of these things. And then I told Rich, I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. I'm like, but my only concern is that you guys have to be committed and you can't go back to what's comfortable because you're paying him a shit ton of money to help you with this. And it seems like the things that I'm reading and looking over with him and stuff while we're at home and talking about it is pretty good ideas for the most part.
Yeah.
And like, you guys can't fall back into your comfort zone, because I've seen it happen so many times in
So true.
seasonal businesses. You spend the whole winter, like in construction or landscaping or whatever, you spend the whole winter looking at the previous season and you're like, okay, we got to do this, and this. This is how we're going to do it. Okay. Then when the shit hits the fan and it's all hands on deck, it
Right back to the way it
disintegrates.
was. Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
so like that, I think, was the biggest challenge of the action plan execution, that some of the stuff was very ambitious that they were doing, which so far, I mean, it sounds like they've been able to successfully execute, especially in the thick of the season.
Okay.
They have some tweaking that they got to do now that things are going to stabilize, like now that the pools are open and they're just kind of in maintenance mode now. But but yeah, so they just really have to keep it going. So now Dave leaves next Friday. So I told him that week after he leaves, that's going to be the tell.
Yeah.
That's going to be the tell if ownership is still going to put that same pressure on management to execute what we all agreed.
So is he having them change? Well, I shouldn't. I don't even know. I'm saying my action items each day. You know, we're creatures of habit.
Right.
Humans are creatures of habit. So my action items each day don't waver too much on a day-to-day basis.
Repetitive.
Pretty repetitive. Yeah. Get up in the morning, do my things. End of the night, do my things, right? Most of what we do in the day, especially at the beginning and the end of the day, is pretty repetitive.
Right.
He's lost.
I don't know about this.
It's that
down
way.
the hall. That way.
Straight down, bud.
Doesn't matter. Just find a corner.
The light's on the left-hand side. Other side.
In the know, Steph and Joe's summer episodes.
Yep. With Eli hanging out.
Well, he chugged a whole iced tea.
I mean,
He's fired up.
I can't. That kid's got to have energy right now. Chocolate bar and the tea and the.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. So they were just trying to fix the things to help increase their efficiency to be able to position themselves to either add an additional revenue stream or to take on more clients in their current space.
Got it.
Is kind of like the goal that they were.
Be more efficient.
Right. They're like a lot of components and stuff in their business run pretty good.
Okay.
Like the way that they price things, the way that they buy things, the relationships they have with their clients. The culture is pretty decent, there. And so it's, because parents bring their kids when they come of age to work there. So clearly, like if you're going to have your kid work there, like you must like the people you work for.
Yep.
So they just needed some tweaking, and they also needed to become like a big person company with having a handbook, written procedures, like everything was just kind of in that unspoken.
You should know.
Right, unspoken thing.
Yeah, it's an unspoken oath.
Rules and stuff.
Yeah.
But so.
Well,
Now
creatures of habit. So for me, I always tell people, like, when I want to start to do something or figure something out different, I will change my morning a little bit to add it in to my normal routine. Because if I can add it into my normal routine, it'll become a normal thing. I can't tell how many people I tell to make your bed in the morning. Carrie doesn't make her bed. I don't know. Many people don't make their bed.
I don't like making my bed.
Yeah, I know.
No, I need my blankets and my pillow to remain in the same position as I left it, because that's how I get the optimal sleep. Otherwise, if I make my bed and it moves the blanket and it moves the pillow, then I have to spend 30 minutes just getting back comfortable in that spot. So
have you ever been diagnosed with OCD by any chance? Because I have a daughter that's OCD, and these are all telltale signs.
So like my everything has to remain as is, like nobody can touch it. Like Rich, I have a separate blanket from Rich.
I have a separate
Like,
blanket from Carrie too. but-
Well, yeah, he sleeps under this, like, I don't know, 30-pound freaking wool thing. Like,
What?
Yeah. He sleeps under like the hottest of hot blankets that we have in the
Oh,
house.
that is awful.
I have like a flat sheet.
Yeah. Basically, same.
But so like I can't do that as part of my morning routine. But like I'll get up in the morning, and before I start getting up and moving around, I'll do some like memory games or like puzzle strategies, and then I'll start my day. Like that's how I kind of wake my brain up, get ready, and then I get in the shower and whatever.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I usually first thing in the morning, because I'm a coffee junkie, right? So the first thing in the morning is I drink water. I hydrate, then I do my little iPad games, sharpen up and wake up, and then it's whatever the little things that I didn't get to the night before around the house, and then it's look at my calendar because I live on the calendar.
Right.
And then my tasks list for the day and what wasn't accomplished from the day before to move them to the new list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just kind of chiming back what Joe said, lists, right? Checking off those lists.
Physically
So,
checking something. Off,
I'm my own worst enemy. I can consult for somebody else all day and fix everybody else's problems, but my own, I'm horrible with that.
I tell everybody it's the landscaper with the dead lawn.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I'm stealing that. But you know what I do is in my
I
journal.
can tell you I don't have mold or shit in my house, so it's cool.
Well, I bet.
It's quick.
It's what you do for a living, so you better not.
And landscaper with the dead lawn.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we do have fungus in our basement. We're
Is that
growing
from when
mushrooms.
you flooded it?
Oh, nice.
No, we're growing mushrooms. No, it dried out completely. Like
It's not like lion's mane or anything. You're growing like
It is lion's mane. No, it's not like shrooms.
Oh, okay.
It's
lion's mane's awesome, man.
Yeah, we have blue oysters, lion's mane, and shiitakes.
That's awesome.
I know. I'm really pumped.
Let me know if I can get a few.
Are you selling them at Mary's
Nope.
farmer's market?
Nope, they're just
She said
personal.
that there was a new mushroom people.
Not it.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so
Dude.
you know the list. When I start getting down upon myself, I'm like, man, I feel like there's so much happening, and I'm just not getting anything done. I'll review everything that I've done and gone. Yeah, no, I'm crushing it. It's all good.
Okay.
And that picks me back up, and I'm back in action, right?
Confidence builder
Yeah,
from the list.
Yeah, and in being an entrepreneur, owning 2 companies, I'm my own confidence builder. I have to be.
Well, any entrepreneur, you have to be your own
Right.
driver, your own confidence
Everything,
builder.
right.
You have to.
And
Well,
that's tough. And it's tough. But you know, I love the fact that you logging, and I love the fact that you made your employees sign this like a contract. That shows that they care and you care, because they'll sign it unless they feel forced to sign it. Did anybody like roll their eyes and then sign it?
No, I felt like we
were you
all
holding a gun to anybody's
It's a
head?
mutual, because you're trying to make it better for everybody.
like we all agreed what was on there. I asked them if there was anything they feel like I'm missing on there, or they feel like I graded them poorly on something and they should have gotten a higher score. Like I give them the opportunity, and we have a pretty, like, even though like a lot of people say that I'm intimidating at times, we have a pretty open door policy at the company, where if I'm going down a road and I'm saying something and the team doesn't back me in that plan, or I don't know, or whatever it may be, they can speak freely. Or if they think that there's a better way or a different way or something that we could do internally that's been bugging them, they'll bring it up in our mini meeting sessions, and we'll figure it out where we could either compromise on it, where I'm happy, they're happy, or I don't know. I don't even know. I'd have to ask them, but I don't think there's very many times where I've just pulled
I'm the boss.
like
bitch.
I'm
no.
I'm the decision
Well,
maker on it. It's
Yeah,
not
well, yeah. Like
they've never asked me for anything so outlandish, so I've been like no.
Well, it's a proven
So-
fact that employees will do better for you if they feel like they have skin in the game. If you make them feel like they have skin in the game, and they're adding to those
100%.
actions and everything else. So you're creating a great atmosphere and a work environment. Now, when you go from that level to that next level, it might shake up the tree a little bit. You know, you're going to get a few lemons that might fall off, and you have to bring in some more people. But that's the growth game, you know.
Right.
But as long as you keep that mindset of how your employees are treated, you'll do, your success will be huge.
Yeah.
It'll gain.
So to circle back around, I have a question where you were mentioning about creatures of habit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys, in all of your years of business or management, ever tried to implement an action plan, but given today's climate, it is so outdated that it just failed within the first like 2 days because it's just like you needed to like really tweak your plan to bring it into the 21st century, whether it be, carbon copy, like
Fax machines.
like, whether it's like
Right
carbon
next to my
copy,
8-track
like
player.
like work orders to try and get people to like write down the stuff, or whether it's like something where it just killed either the efficiency of the situation or it just really no longer applies in today's world. Like not from like a political or social thing, but just in general, normal like business practices.
Well, for me, it would be if there's an action plan that was outdated, what I usually do is I look at it and then I find the commonality in today's society and wrap that into it. So let's just say paperwork's out, right? Everything is done on an app. There's between you got SOP and CRMs out there that'll do whatever you need to streamline your process, right? So what I do is I say, okay, so this can replace this, and then let's add this, fine tune this. So you just take that action plan that's outdated. I usually study it, and then I bring it to somebody else, so I'm not just the only eyes on it. And go, what do you think of this? And I'm thinking about doing this. Let them add their value to it too, and then you kind of recreating the wheel a little bit.
Because I mean, like a few people that like I network with and we share similar views and whatever on business and stuff like that. We tried to do a lunch and learn this past week, and we tried to, just talk about the importance of these tools that you should have in your toolbox as a new business owner or a business owner on the grow and stuff like that. And we were trying to bring in guests, like as this lunch and learn like thing grew, we were trying to bring in guests. Well, so we had our first one and 0 people showed up. 2 people from the chamber showed up because they had to, but 0 people showed up to the lunch and learn. And from talking to the people at the chamber, it seems like those are dying and those aren't as practical as they once were.
Used to be.
Well, so lunch and learns are still valuable.
I think it depends on your audience.
Correct.
And who your content is.
How you're targeting it to.
That's like a home buyer seminar.
I mean, like we put it on like 3 chamber sites. We put it on Facebook. We created a Facebook event. We all shared it out. And in the past, like creating this plan and doing this and putting this into motion, we also covered the food and the beverages,
What was the title? What was the title of the lunch and learn, if I can ask?
It was called Business Toolbox. But like, so it was just like
that's like similar to the home buying seminars, right? People aren't going to home buyers seminars anymore, right?
Yeah, but like 3 years ago when I used to do lunch and learns, you get like a packed house. So then like now circling back around to it and being like, oh, like now I have more time for branding and marketing. Like, let's start doing this again. And that clearly was an action plan that was outdated. Like, I just don't think that it's going to draw. And I'm also not realistically going to spend $500 to put it at a brewery to have people show up and then spend another $100 in prize baskets,
right? Plus
do all that just for you to come and listen to me when you really don't give a shit about what I have to say. Like, I'm not doing that. So,
really just don't give a shit.
Like,
but
I don't have a problem like throwing a mixer and you come and you meet my team and we played the fun game and I'll do the prizes because it's all, my stuff. And we get I feel like I get a good turnout at my mixers. It's between 60 and 75 people that show up every time I have a mixer. So I was like, well, why wouldn't they show up for a lunch and learn? But that theory was
so lunch and learns aren't necessarily
might be just your not the content, but the audience, right? because we did the Trades Connect.
Right.
We do lunch and learns.
Well, the Trades Connect, the first two that
It's
you
like a
guys
mix-up.
did, right. I was part of one, and then the second one looked like you had a good group, but this last one, you guys really didn't have that many people show up.
It wasn't as much. A lot of people were getting back into the season, so
Right.
they were all busy. But lunch and learns, we do lunch and learns for like a senior care facility.
Mhm.
Right. And so we'll get all of their staff in and we'll do a lunch and learn for their staff specifically.
Yeah.
So we're actually targeting their staff saying, hey, come in. We're going to serve you guys lunch and we're going to spend an hour talking to you about the different things, this and that.
Right.
And that is very targeted lunch and learn,
Right.
as opposed to like a seminar
Right.
where
Well,
you
I
just
think
invite
it's
and say, come on out.
right. Like I think it's that there's still value in the lunch and learns and stuff because I've taken some really good nuggets from roundtables and lunch and learns.
Yes.
But I think that maybe the more I don't know if it's like the newer age thing is that I guess I found out through talking to some of my connections at MCC that I could actually host one at MCC and open it up to college students plus current business owners and be able to utilize their new building when it opens up in Woodstock.
Love that idea.
So like that might be taking my old ideas from 3 years ago and then now bringing a little bit of a newer spin on it and have some, seasoned owners that these new up and coming owners can now collaborate and learn something from other active business owners in the
So
community.
networking
College kids that are
groups.
aspiring to be a
Right.
business owner, right? Yeah.
Networking groups are kind of not a replacement to a lunch and learn. Lunch and learns are still big.
Mhm.
But when you're in different networking groups and then those people see what you're doing, they don't want to attend. And how you target that is based like we did one we had on our show as well. It was called, you love this because you do insurance. It was called How to Protect Your Ass. That's right. And the show up was crazy. And I broadcasted that through all the networking groups. I own 2 networking groups. And I blasted that out to anybody local, they would come to it. And then that's where you get those seats filled. And then what you would do is then you would start building a webinar series of your lunch and learn with more of a deep dive. And then you're able to say out to the public, out to the world, up on the Zoom, whatever, right? StreamYard.
Oh, yeah.
And say, hey, listen, this is what it costs per seat. You come on, but these are the values and benefits that you get out of it. You get a takeaway out of it. We will mail you this, and this because you were here.
Right.
And then you'll get a certificate saying that you came to this webinar and that you succeeded through it. So, and it also depends on, is it you, a guest speaker? Is it somebody else? So when you get that maybe that other person that's got traction, maybe a little more than you, sitting next to you talking as well, that brings a different demographic to the table as well. But 100% you are right when it's like, hey, I'm going to go through the chamber and we're going to broadcast it locally. Everybody wants to come for a free lunch. Yeah. But nowadays they're like, I do that with my networking group. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I think that lunch and learns will be back in force. I think many things are very cyclical. For when Carrie and I first started, networking groups were all the rage. Everybody was in 12, right?
Yeah.
Now they kind of fizzled out. Everybody kind of got burned out on networking groups, right? They'll eventually.
Yeah, but I just feel like if you are part of, like, I'm not saying anything negative about networking groups. I feel like I gained a lot of knowledge from the networking groups that I've been part of.
Totally.
But when you have like a solid established group of 30, there's only so many times I want to hear your elevator pitch. Like, I feel like
and that's the type of
want
group. That's the type
something-
of group.
so that's a BNI group.
Like,
Those
I
are
want-
tough.
or
but a lot of those,
or whatever. Let's not call out BNI. It could be an AM Spirit. Could be an
Sure.
right.
but I'm just saying a lot of them have a similar structure like that.
Correct.
Like a lot of them,
Give your elevator
branched
pitch.
off and all that stuff. Like I, at a point, would just want to do like more constructive, like somebody bring a problem to the table. Let's brainstorm and figure out this problem for you and see if anything that we've done in our businesses can apply to your business.
And I think
You
that's
know?
the structure of the networking group. When
Right.
I was doing networking groups, I would sit and listen, and every single week, my pitch was different.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to change their pitch every week.
Yeah.
Right. So then you're going to get, but
Yes. I mean, sometimes like now, like if I'm in a group of people that have known me for more than 5 years.
yeah. Hey,
I
I'm
just-
Steph. I do books.
Yeah. That's all I say. Like,
Yeah.
you know who I am. You know where to find me. Nothing's changed.
Right.
Like, why? And then, like, I also feel like if I've known you for 5 years, then I feel like we have an established relationship enough where either you're going to refer to me or you're not. And just because I back out of the networking group and then some new rando bookkeeping company comes in that you don't know, and then you're just going to refer to them because they're in your group, well, then we really don't have a relationship. You
exactly.
know, like-
exactly.
So my networking group is called Sure Connections. It's a vetted group. We started it during COVID. It's based out of Zoom, right? We started with 15. We got 1,500 on list worldwide. We are not a pitching group. We are a relationship building group. So awesome people get to refer awesome people into the group. It doesn't matter if we have 30 web designers. It doesn't matter because we
Right.
want to learn the person.
Mhm.
Now, when you are looking for something, why would you go outside that vetted group to do anything? Because you already know all these people. You reach out. So what I usually say in the beginning of my group is like, hey, listen, put what you do and how you do it in the chat. You want to set up your one-on-ones with anybody here. They already know what you do. That's how you contact them. Save the chat on your desktop. Now you know how to reach out for your one-on-ones. Then we do breakout rooms with questions to learn who the people are.
Right.
And then from there, you're building those relationships, and off of those relationships, then business happens. Otherwise, you're allowed one realtor, you're allowed one broker, and now you got like 5 or 6 people. You run out of industries, and then you're seeing the same people over and over and over again. And are you really getting?
Well, I
business
can
from-
tell you, unless there's certain industries that are in that group, I'm not going to get business out of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And so
Right.
you
Yeah.
might as well just build relationships with whoever based on the character of the person and who they are
Exactly.
and how they are.
Right.
Then when there's something that's a need, you can reach out and be like, hey, listen, this is what I got going on. What do you think you guys can do? And that's how you guys get business back.
Right.
Most of my business from DCCS comes from my network.
So to tie it back into the action plans, though.
I was going to say.
So since we've all obviously attended
Yeah, sorry,
a
I went on a
networking,
tangent.
like
No, you're good.
we've all attended a networking event, networking group. We've all had like roundtable discussions. So
Right.
like, let's say somebody at the group has an idea that they're implementing in their business, and you're like, oh, that's a really cool nugget. I need to tweak it. How easy is it for you to take somebody else's kind of idea, tweak it to fit your business, and create a solid like 30-day action plan on it? Like
Very
how
easy.
you think it just
Very easy.
no matter what it is, like whether it's employee like improvement or it's operations efficiency or it's cataloging or it's I
I'm
don't know
a
what else you do.
30,000 foot view person. I can see things that you're doing and how it relates exactly to what I'm doing,
Mhm.
or how I can take what you just did and take it and make it my own. I can do that very, very well. I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that because I'm actually so I think that I could do it very well. Carrie's very much a realist, so she will be like, "Ugh, we can't get that done in that amount of time, right? Or
Right.
whatever the action plan may be, how much we got to take, the duration, but I can very much see what you've done and go, I really like the way that you have your employees sign into the pool company, Mr. Pool Company. I love that system. I can now take that and have my employees do that on my side, because obviously that's a bad example, but very easy to do, right?
Right.
Like,
And how long is too long for an action plan before it just becomes a dusty item on the shelf because you gave yourself too long to execute?
when what is too long to you?
When the scenarios change in growth of your company already, when those change, your action plan doesn't make sense anymore.
Here's what I would have to say, though. For me, it's actually more about because what's a bucket list?
Well, I mean, like, there's a difference between your 1, 3, and 5 year plan for your business as your overall arching goals versus the action plans to achieve those goals. So if your action plans that you create for your 5-year mark, obviously those action plans are going to be long-term plans, but you should start seeing positive results within the first 90 days of that. So if you need to pivot or edit or
adjust
or
whatever.
scrap it and start from scratch.
Yep.
Like there should be a measurable thing along that 5 years to then be able to say that. But like, I think that you should be able, for me, I think I need 60 days or less to see the results of what action plans I would be putting in place at my company because of the type of work that I do, and it's monthly work. So if I needed
2
my
months,
employees, right, like I know if this is going in a good direction or a bad direction as for my employees and their development. But like a marketing plan, that's a different thing. Like if I put
Same with us, yeah.
right, like I need to be on that like every
if we
every
get
15 days, I need to know.
if we get a job,
Like it's expensive.
we could get an asbestos job or a lead job
Mhm.
and go, oh, we went through this lead job. Great. Now we need to, but we didn't do X, Y, and Z correctly. So we need to adjust.
Mhm.
Well, it may be 2 years before we get another lead job.
Right.
So adjusting is like, again, that's what I'm going to say is
But I'm saying like these are the action plans that get you to your growth. Like not necessarily
just to
'cause,
change
like
something.
for you guys, like your development, you guys have to stay in the know on the proper ways to dispose of said items that you come across, how to mitigate said items, how to keep your team safe and all of that. So that you have to, those action plans to make sure everybody is, maintaining the safety third, that has to be a always quick plan because
Once
if
a
it's
week.
not, then
Once
somebody
a
can
week.
get hurt.
Once a week because we
Right.
do our safety, we do our meetings, our
Mhm.
tech talks once a week.
Right.
And so during that week, if they say change something,
Right.
it should be changed during the week and within that Monday, because most of what they're changing is going to be something they're doing on a daily basis.
Right.
So it should only really take 1 week
Like-
at most. And then by next week,
Mhm.
they have the meeting again and go, well, you guys did it. Way to go. We saved. Joe didn't get hurt today. Way to go.
But-
Safety third.
But it's just like employers that do the annual review. I feel like that's too long to be able to create a strategy plan for them to improve on the next year. Because when I was an employee, if you're going to come back at me about something that I did in January and now we're in 365 days later, well, how was I supposed to know? Now I've developed this bad habit.
Right.
And how was I supposed to know that that's the wrong thing?
Those
Right.
reviews used to be on an annual basis due to the fact of this is what she was doing. She was doing it wrong, but it looks like she corrected it as she progressed on a line. Anything implemented, you usually have to run a full cycle to see how from beginning to end how it works. That's why a lot of annual reviews happen.
Well,
I just feel like you can't just talk. You can't bring shit up. I mean, I'm a scorekeeper, so I'll probably remember. But like, you can't bring shit up from like 6 months ago. If you had a problem with me 6 months ago, as far as I'm concerned, you have expired that opportunity to talk to me about it. Like, we're
and
done
so
with that
how-
conversation.
How that talk
that makes
should
sense.
go is, Steph, we noticed 6 months ago that you made this.
Yeah, no.
error.
No.
Yeah.
It should be,
That's
hey,
it.
right now,
Right.
you just did this.
Like,
Fine.
you need to tell me, like, I'll give you, if
and this
you
is
have a
why Steph doesn't work for anybody.
Right.
if you
So-
have a problem with me in general, personally,
Oh,
professional,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
if you have a problem with me, I give you 7 days. 7 days, get your argument, get your point of view together, and you come and talk to me.
So
If you're
so
beyond
you
that,
have,
then
you
don't
have to
talk
let
to
me
me about
finish
it.
my sentence to get to the end of that, so you can understand what I'm saying. So when you, let's just say I'm doing your review, and I'm like, hey, listen, back in January, we noticed that there was some pretty big hiccups, but we're proud of you because we saw the massive improvement as through time comes. So congratulations on that. We see a massive improvement. We love what you're doing, but they're going to point it out and say, yeah, listen, this was a problem. But you corrected that problem. We didn't even have to come to you about it.
Yeah, like just like what happened now on the show. Like if I was in a review and someone was telling me that, my brain would instantly shut off as soon as I heard January.
Right.
Like I'm done. Like I wouldn't listen to anything you had to say
Right,
after
so
that.
that's-
like it could be like a personal problem.
That's definitely a YP and not an MP, right?
That's definitely a
That's
personal.
that's some personal development stuff that you need to
That's
work
something
on.
we should work on, Steph.
That's why, like, if somebody does something to me, I just in the moment we call it out, we lay all this shit on the table, and like that's it. Like I just don't
So
know,
Right.
like how you could be like providing me constructive criticism or providing me like I am like okay, well I course corrected it by myself. Okay, great. So I deserve my full 3.5% then on my raise. But like you know, but
Again,
what I
why
love about
Steph
Steph? She's
never
this
doesn't
is
work
how
for
it's gonna
anybody.
be. If you make me happy, I'm gonna let you know you're making me happy. If
Yeah.
not, you're fired.
Yeah.
But even though I'm direct, they love me, or do they?
oh,
So
I mean, they've been on the show before.
I'll say this.
I mean, you come to my office and seen them.
They definitely love her.
so they get her is what it is. They understand.
I think that's really it. It's the clear communication, the clear set standards, the clear set expectations.
But how many people have worked for a boss where it's just so great
100%.
and you don't
100%.
know?
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
And then all of a
Yep.
sudden something comes up and you're like, no freaking way.
Yep.
Like,
As
I
a
used to
problem
send-
solver, I can't fix stupid. And if the guy above me's stupid, it's never going to change. It's time for me to go.
That's why I left insurance. Was because my old team leader would literally walk up to my desk and be like, "You sent this email like 4 times, and it's not this. It shouldn't be this way. It should be this way." And I'm like, "Wait, we never talked about that. I came up with this new method. I solved the problem because the old way we were doing it sucked. This new way is better, and every single person I'm sending it to loves it."
And because it wasn't his idea.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Whatever. So I get what you're saying. It needs to be said right off the get-go.
yeah.
Right? That's it.
I just feel like it just loses its luster after, after 7 days.
What did I learn today? I learned that Steph, you have a 3-day window, a 7-day window to let Steph know that something's going wrong. Other than that, you're fired.
I learned that I'm better friends with Steph just being friends.
I learned that Steph will never, ever work for somebody else.
No,
Nope.
I could never be an employee again after.
That
Well, I mean, like I've said on the show before, my last 3 managers wouldn't claim me in public as their subordinate. So,
yeah.
They
like,
wouldn't claim you. I
No.
love that. They wouldn't claim
they're
you.
like, I'm not her boss.
I'm not taking responsibility for that one.
I'm like, no. So,
Well, either
Yeah.
way, I can tell you, I learned quite a bit today about taking action when I have a problem with Steph. That's about all I can say to that one.
I'm almost afraid if there is a problem that I need to bring up right now, what the result backwards would be, because of the directness. Is it a knee-jerk reaction?
Are you talking directness like eye level? Because you guys are both kind of short. Never mind.
Well, there is no question that we're both kind of. Actually, I might be taller than her, so I am the giant in the room when you're not here.
You are
Right.
taller than her.
Right.
Everybody's
good.
taller
I feel
than
good
her.
about myself.
but what? Oh, like if you came to me with a problem?
Yeah. Like, you know what, Steph? I don't. This is the way you did this, and this isn't.
Well, actually,
I don't-
something shockingly I've worked on.
Oh.
So April has actually helped me with this. And so,
Reacting to people.
yeah, so now I could be in general population easier. So,
Gen Pop?
yep.
Nice.
So
The police
if,
know this.
so if,
So when she goes to prison, Gen Pop it is.
so when my employees bring a problem to me, if they're telling me something that is just hitting that right sequence of words where I'm going to have like a brain aneurysm, I will keep a straight face so they really don't know how to read the situation. But then I will say, okay, thanks for sharing. Let me get back to you tomorrow. That means usually that's an indicator. Whatever you said to me irritated me to the point where I can't have this conversation with you right now. And I need to sleep on it and let it percolate. And then we'll circle back around.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
Challenge.
So,
I'm
yeah.
gonna try and get her to say that to me.
So that's
Challenge
what,
accepted.
Challenge accepted.
so that's what April's helped me with.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna try and get you to say that to me.
That's good because it gives you time to go
Sometimes,
from
yeah.
here to here. you
Because
know?
because like my brother, when we got into it about his wedding, I was like rage texting him, and he's very passive compared to me. He does not like confrontation. And then he called me, and then I just was going in on him on the phone call, and then we were going back and forth, and then he's like, okay, he's like, so what we've taken away from this is I'm going to ask you to please call me when you're mad at me when you're at a 4, not when you're at an 8. Like, I can't do that, but I could deal with you at a 4.
Deal. Interesting.
So yeah.
Has that changed your guys' relationship?
No, this happened like last year.
It's been a year. Can't you get some action items in there?
No, I really don't.
Can't you
I
I'm gonna
know.
have him piss you off.
I'll
so
see
you
him tomorrow. I'll ask him.
Oh, yeah, ask
But
him
yeah.
if it's changed. I'm just curious now. Like, did
No.
that action item change anything?
No, he just no. Like he just
still
he,
a jerk.
I guess he could just tell when I'm getting ramped up, and he just needs to bite the head off the snake faster, I guess.
Maybe we just don't become a snake.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's a phrase, Joe.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm
We're
a
so off,
peacock. I got to fly.
we're so off topic.
We're taking action.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
What'd you learn, Steph?
Well, I learned that apparently I have the biggest balls in the room, is what I learned.
Well, that's going to be a different episode, I think. We're going to have to dive into that one a little bit more.
And then let's see, what do we have coming?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that Drew's probably got some cojones.
This one.
I know Eli definitely does.
I guess I would have to ask, like, what makes you think that you have the biggest balls?
Yeah. What just made our balls smaller?
Right.
Because you all guys seem so uncomfortable about the way I take action in
No,
hostile situations.
Not at all.
No, I find it amusing, and I can't wait to see it in
That's-
real life.
That's not at all. That's just growth that you need to do. Been there, done
not.
that. Oh, of course it is.
I
Personal
am
development is the
way
best tool in the world.
calmer.
I am
Oh, that's-
way.
Well, see, I
calmer.
didn't know you prior.
Yeah.
So,
Where's my mom? Mom, you better chime in on this.
Mom, tell her how much of a
so
bitch I was.
in my
She will.
past,
I know.
so in my past, the rage went red. There was never word spoken.
Oh yeah, if I'm not talking to you, then
So
usually
there's been a lot of
you fit the danger
hey,
zone.
Dad, can you bail me out scenarios, and I come from that family, right?
Mm.
Wait, like jail?
Oh yeah,
How many times do you have to bail your kids out?
my dad,
Oh, your dad.
right? Yeah,
Sorry.
no, not my kid. My kids are awesome. They're like angels compared to how I was.
Just making sure.
Yeah, no, it was
Wait,
later in
don't
life.
you have little kids?
It was
younger
later in
kids?
life where I learned that it's none of my business what people actually think of me, and how I react to that is how people perceive me. So,
Yep.
That's where leadership development really came into play. I mean, I've had 650 employees in my last company, and it took a lot of failure to get to the point where I'm at today.
I find that the more you don't care what people think about you, probably the better off you're going to
Happier
be.
you live, bro.
Yeah, the better off you're going to be.
100%.
I have no problem wearing a do-rag, and people look at me like, who is this pirate just walking
This
around?
pirate,
Yeah.
this biker pirate.
So next week I feel like this will be good to dive deeper into this because we have the failed and overcame. That's
Boom.
next week.
See, it's like we know what we're doing with these episodes in order.
It's like, I
Yeah.
added the sugar to the Kool-Aid today. Did you like that?
You did?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. You got to add your own sugar.
That's
to
what I
the
did.
Kool-Aid.
I'm using that now,
Okay.
Joe.
I love that. I love that.
We better.
Yeah, we're done, guys.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Man, we went along. You were here. We were hanging. Chug some tea. Let's get on the road, bro.
Okay,
Okay, you got a tea mustache.
I know.
Okay.
I might get another taco bar when I come
Well,
back.
thanks for
Oh
tuning
my
in.
gosh.
Thanks for getting caught in the net. We will see you guys next Friday to talking about situations that you failed and overcame. Hopefully they're pertaining to the action plans that you put together after today's show.
There you go. Hopefully, with last show, this show, and next show, you'll be able to get shit done. Plan